Hey everybody, what's going on? The Montreal Canadiens have gotten off to a great start to the regular season and have a 4-2-1 record. But before we dive into that, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to this channel. You can find it in the bottom right hand corner of this video. New videos every Friday. The Montreal Canadiens have been really strong to start off the season at 5 on 5, although there's been some concerns with the penalty kill and the power play. The power play did have a little bit of a bright spot last night where they had their first game of the season where they scored two power play goals. I think they don't want to get ahead of themselves though with this performance. There was some good and some good puck movement during those power plays where they ultimately did score goals on, but I don't think they should just say, oh, we're not going to continue working on this because it started to work for one game against the Columbus Blue Jackets, a team that really doesn't have much expectation this year either. So I think there's still room to improve the power play. I'm not really sold on the combinations that they currently have on the power play. I like Mike Matheson as the point man on the first power play unit for the Montreal Canadiens. He's someone that can gain the zone. He's someone that has a lot of poise at the top of the zone as well. And he got one through last night with a beautiful goal to get the Montreal Canadiens within one. And I think he's someone that's just playing some really good hockey. Sure, there's been some hiccups with his game as well, but there's a lot of consistency that he's bringing to the table. And he's been a massive minute eater for this club, especially when you factor in the amount of defensemen that they've already lost with Caden Gooley, who should be returning shortly, and David Savard, who's out 6 to 8 weeks. So I think that Mike Matheson has performed above expectation to start the year. And I think that although he's carrying a big load, he's delivered early on those expectations. And along with some other of the veterans, you have the veteran line right now. It's been the third line for the Montreal Canadiens this season with Tanner Pearson, Sean Monahan, and Brendan Gallagher. I was fairly critical of them in the first game of the season against the Toronto Maple Leafs, but since then they've been one of the team's best lines. They bring a lot of consistency to the table, and I think that a lot of them are kind of playing with that same mentality. They're fighting for their NHL lives, and they know that although a guy like Brendan Gallagher does have that long-term security, he's still trying to get back his reputation as a goal scorer and someone that can actually contribute to a game instead of carrying around that injury-prone label that he has been for the last 2 years. So I think there's a lot of positives from that line. If the Montreal Canadiens do eventually fall out of contention in the Eastern Conference, I think you're going to see a healthy return for Sean Monahan, ironically assuming he can stay healthy for the majority of this year because we've already seen what he's been able to contribute. And I do believe that once Christian Dvorak does return on that third line, that Monahan will be bumped up to play with Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki, which has been a trio that's worked well in the past and I think will continue to work well in the future as well. But for now, if you're factoring in the future of this team, let's say that they do sell off eventually at the deadline, Tanner Pearson and Sean Monahan are both proven to be valuable assets that this club can move in order to get better in the future. And I just think that although you might want to re-sign a guy like Monahan, the potential return that you can get at the deadline is just a lot more valuable. And I think that that's the way the Montreal Canadiens will look to that as well. I just think right now there's a lot of positives with this team, especially at 5 on 5. They're controlling a lot of the play, and that's not something I was expecting to say, especially with Kirby Dach out of the lineup for the remainder of the season. You're seeing some growing pains from some of the youngsters, but I do like a lot of what I'm seeing from Uri Slafkovsky. He's having those little plays, stuff that you didn't see last year, and you're already seeing the progression, although it hasn't turned into goals yet. I think those goals are coming. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he found the back of the net on Saturday night against the Winnipeg Jets. You can just tell with the little habits that he's creating that there are goals coming for him, as well as playmaking assists and just stuff that he's doing on a regular basis. He's winning those puck battles. He's being able to drive the net a little more than we were accustomed to seeing him doing last year. And I just think he needs to shoot the puck more. It's a really strong asset of his, and it's something that he has to continue working on, gaining that confidence. Because once he starts finding the back of the net, I think you're going to see them going in spades. And I do believe that he has 25, 30 goal upside when he's in the prime of his career. But I do believe that he's also a very strong playmaker. So I think that that's something that's going to continue shining as well. That's it for me today from Cook's Corner. As always, let me know in the comment section down below what you make of some of the veterans on this team leading the way for the Montreal Canadiens early on this season, and what you think the pathway for the Montreal Canadiens to continue finding success this year is as well. I'm Zach Cook. We'll see you later.